Fallbrook, and a third office in San Marcos, California. I cover both regions. I cover the North County territory, and then I cover the Temecula Valley as well. So if you have any seniors that need any personal care, companionship care, and if they're coming from the hospital or from the rehabs, we are here to provide excellent service. And we are, looking to partner up with everyone and take care of our seniors. That's our main priority and right at home.
Thank you. Rhonda.
Hi, I'm Rhonda Fuentes with Paradise Village, and we do independent assisted and memory care, and I'm on the board.
Excellent, thank you. And Alicia.
Hi, I'm Alicia Olson. I am a nurse and the owner of Majestic Care. We provide placement services, and I'm also a certified placement and referral specialist. Nice to see everyone.
Thank you, Alicia. Okay, did I miss anybody? We moved around a little bit, so I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Okay, very good. All right, so my name is Julie Derry. I am with Care Patrol, and I do placement, and I am the current president of the National Placement and Referral Alliance for the San Diego chapter. So, is there anybody else? We good? Okay. All right, very good. All right, so again, if you haven't already entered your information into the chat box, please do so that others can get a hold of you. That would be much appreciated. And just a little bit about, I know we've got some guests here today and some non-members. So a little bit about the National Placement and Referral Alliance. So we are our San Diego chapter. If you're not talking, could you put yourself on mute, please? So our San Diego chapter, we have 20 members in our San Diego chapter. We've been in existence for 2 years, and we are actively growing our membership. About 60% of our membership is, correct me if I'm wrong on that, Carol, 60% is affiliate members. So 40% is actual placement agents, and then for these other 60% is the affiliate. So as you can see represented on the call today, we've got in-home care, we've got hospice, we've got home health, we've got technology. So we've got all aspects. We've got consultants representing the industry as affiliate partners. So you can go to our website, the NPRA Alliance, and I'll post that out on the chat box to look at our best practices and at our code of ethics, and just see what it is that we stand for. And quickly, what I would say is what we're out to accomplish is raising the level of professionalism of the placement industry and ensuring the adequate and safe care and placement of our aging population. So again, I welcome you to go out to our website. I will put that out on the chat box. Thank you for being here today. I encourage you to join our group, our growing group. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jennifer Ramos, who is our speaker for today.
Hi, everyone. So we have a pretty good mix of people. So if anyone, as I go through this, I really do encourage questions if you have them. I don't know, Julie, if you're controlling the chat box, but if somebody has a question in real time, I'm super open to doing that. My advisory is really very specific. I'm not a cookie cutter type of consultant, because I feel like not one size fits everyone, doesn't fit all. So if you have any questions, feel free to chime in. But yes, I am with JR3 Consulting Group. In my previous life before consulting, I was a home care owner for about 20 years collectively. I had 3 agencies in California. I had one in Colorado, and I had a staffing agency in Colorado as well. I sold them all. I went into consulting. The evolution with consulting led me to business brokering. So I started helping folks with exiting their business, and that's really my specialty. Somewhere in that 20 years, I became certified as a life coach. And so I do a lot of life coach training. I don't really take life coach clients per se, but I do train other people to be life coaches if that's what they aspire to be. And I do embed some of those philosophies into my advisory for business, because I feel like your personal life is very much embedded into your professional life. So with that said, and the topic being goal setting for 2021, let's move on. So goal setting is really interesting because you can Google goal setting and you will come up with a slew of different programs, a slew of different strategies. So I'm not going to bore you with too many of those. I did break it down to the ones I find most successful for business owners, and a correlation between all of the information you're going to get. There's a core set of strategies that work pretty much across the line from any business book you'll read on the topic. So, all right, so we all know, I mean, business owners and people, even if you're not a business owner and you're just, you know, managing your position in your company, running your business or running your position without a doubt is challenging. You are wearing many, many different hats, and it can be easy to lose sight of the finish line and what exactly you're working on. So hard to achieve. To keep yourself focused and your eye on 2021 year-end targets, you need to set clear, specific, and measurable goals. But what's a goal to you? What's personal versus business goals, really, I should ask. So your personal goals need to be much more focused. They need to be realistic. They need to be attainable. You need to visualize it, feel it, taste it. This becomes your mission and your purpose over time. So essentially it's your why. If anybody talks about what's your why, find your why, it would be that. It's your personal goals, because everything you do or want to attain in your personal life, you're only really going to achieve it through your professional life. So the driving force then becomes the motivation, and you need to keep going, the motivation for you to keep going. Make sure you get to the core of what your overall big picture is, and it does become your purpose. Okay, so even if it's something as simple as buying a new laptop this upcoming year, getting a new office space, doing your kitchen, your dining room, your home, you're spending more time with your family, or taking a vacation, it doesn't matter what it is. If you set that goal for your personal life, that then becomes your purpose and your driving force throughout the year. Then you basically simply work out how your business goals are going to get you there. Now, if there's any business owners in the room, in the Zoom room, on average, 70 to 80% of our wealth is tied into our businesses. And really, if you're a marketer, if you're, it doesn't matter, your wealth is coming from your position in your work. So your professional goals and your business goals are very, very much tied into your personal. It's the only way you're going to achieve things. So that alone should be the driving factor. And that alone really is your why to get you through this next year, especially this next year, because if anything taught us this year we're in with COVID and all the challenges that we faced this year, so many changes can come up to derail us, to distract us. And without a purpose or an end in mind or your why, you can get thrown way off. You can like way off, especially businesses. And being a broker, I'm handling a lot of businesses that are going under because they're just struggling because of this year. So next year, if you're not one of those, really setting strong, attainable goals that you can measure are very, very, very important. And keeping your motivation to get there is going to be even more important for you. Now, I think I mentioned that I do life coaching as well. So part of my practice is I do a test on my clients. It's similar to a DISC test. I don't know if anybody out there has ever taken a DISC test. Has anybody? No? Do you know what that is? So it's basically kind of...
No idea.
Okay. So a DISC test is really a personality kind of a test to see what your motivations are and what your drivers are. In my practice, I give a similar test because it helps me really understand who I'm consulting with and what drives them, what motivates them, and how they react to stressful situations. And so as it relates to goal setting, when someone scores on any one of these categories, this SMJLVM, it tells me a lot about how they operate. Now, as it relates to goals, if someone is a high S, which is this first one here, they are mostly operating as an observer. This is the person that likes to delegate. This is someone who really is task-oriented, but really doesn't want to do the work themselves. They will hold the meeting, and delegate the tasks and the goal setting, or they'll do the goal setting, but they will rely on the task getting done by their team. So someone who's a high S is really a natural leader, and really they attain their goals pretty well if they have a strong team with them. So some of you might identify with some of these categories, and if you do, it'll give you a little bit of insight if you're struggling with maintaining goals or knowing how to set goals. It'll help you a little bit understand. The next one is M. Someone who scores here really confronts goals and the tasks head on. These are the doers. These are the ones that go in. You might have a coworker that's like this, or you might be like this. You might have a task in front of you, almost like a list, your daily planner, and you will go through and check it off and check it off and check it off, and you like get into the trenches with it. This is a very no filtered type of person. This is someone who's very direct, very straightforward, almost, very energetic in the room or meetings. Their approach can often cause challenges due to distractions setting in, and they like change. So if there's a distraction going on in the office, the thing is about them, they will take on too much. So they tend to fill their calendars way too much and then tackle it. It's just too much. So this person who scores here, if this sounds familiar, you really do need to tailor it back a little bit. So if your daily tasks or your month looks crazy, if you have a day planner, your calendar is way too impacted, my suggestion is to cut back, tackle the first top 3 important things of your day. The first one obviously being the most important, and then go from there. And don't take on so much, because folks that score here, they tend to take on way too much, and then nothing really gets done at the end of the day. You'll find that at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year, you're not really where you wanted to be. The next one is J. Folks that score here, they are the types that will gather a lot of information. They will invite a collaborative, effort from their team. But the challenge with goals with someone who's a high J will attach to one kind of thing a little bit too much, and they get a little stuck in it and they can't move past it. So someone who scores here needs to really have a boundary and learn boundaries, how to tackle one chunk of what they want to do and then move past it. So boundaries is a big one for someone who is a J. And if it sounds like if it sounds like you get too deep into one or two things and you can't move past it, you really do need to try to separate yourself and have more boundaries. Folks that score an L, they like to be more recluse. They will avoid, this is a challenging one, because they'll avoid tasks and goals altogether. So if you have someone on your team, or maybe you, and just the thought of goals is just not interesting to you, these are the visionaries. Setting goals and tasks are very difficult for them. It's not that they're lazy, it's just they just don't have the tenacity to sit there and tackle it. They're more instinctive, and they'll thrive in creative opportunities that they develop or someone else develops for them. Sorry for that typo. So if you have someone on your team like that, the way to get them moving on a goal is really to tap into their creative side. And you'll know, because they'll start talking about, well, I have this idea, and I have this idea, and I have that idea, and it might even be you. You just need someone, or they need someone, to kind of write that idea down and then tackle it and put it together for them. People that score a V will procrastinate at addressing the goal or even setting goals. They're very relaxed by nature, and they will just procrastinate. They will put it off and put it off and put it off. This person really does have a challenge with setting goals for themselves, and really will have a hard time in this upcoming year if we stay in this COVID state, and it looks like this isn't going to change anytime soon. So if you have someone who's super relaxed, just very laid back, or maybe you are, getting somebody, a spouse, a family member, a coworker, a partner, who could take on the goals, take on what needs to happen in the coming months, is very wise for this person because this person will have a hard time. Next is M. The M's, folks that score M, this particular one, they're very covert and they're very detailed in their manner, very specific, very quick. They're the sharpest people in the room. They're actually very quick thinking in terms of they're getting to the conclusion in a meeting way faster than anybody else in the room. They're very sharp. They're also quick tongued. And so, and they're very good at shifting. So if there's a challenge with a company, challenge with anything that's going on, like with COVID happening this year, they are the ones that actually get stuff done. They will figure out how to get PPE. They'll figure out how to make their business work. They'll figure out their teams, and they're very natural at goal setting. So goal setting for them just comes naturally. They don't necessarily have to write it down. It's kind of in their head. They may write it down one time and then they move on and they just make it happen. S, folks that score this S, which is in the middle here of this little flower looking thing, they basically look to others around them for help. These are the people that walk into a room and they're kind of like sunshine. So when they come in, they just have that it factor, but they fizzle out very quickly. So if they're not stimulated in the work environment, or if it's you and you're not really stimulated in your work environment, you get very checked out. Like you don't want to participate with much. And to keep you focused on a goal is also very challenging because you get easily distracted by the next shiny thing. So focus, if you feel yourself doing that, or if you have somebody on your team that naturally does that, bringing them back or making the goals exciting to them, or doing some sort of task that's going to keep that person engaged is really helpful. They just need to be constantly going. And so that's the biggest advice for them. They do have a hard time with goals on their own. They do need a team around them. So
Hey, Jennifer, quick question. I may have missed this. So it starts with an S and it ends with an S?
Yeah, it's this top. It goes from top to bottom is the around here clockwise.
Okay, I get that, but so why is the S?
It's just a coding. It's a coding for me. It's hard without going through that whole program of what I do, but it's a coding. So like this S up here, whenever somebody scores here and I get a whole report, then it means this top. This S down here is really this middle.
Got it.
Flower.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
Doesn't
That's
have
what I
it.
missed.
Yeah, it's just like a personality type, but it's how it relates to goal setting in particular.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So, you know, like my husband is an S. He's this last one. He fizzles out like nobody's business. I mean, I have to keep him engaged and put something shiny in front of him and he'll keep going. You know what I mean? So it's nice to know where you're at and what you need to do to get yourself to the next stage of what you need to have done.
Can we ask questions?
Oh, please. Yes.
So I look at all these and, you know, I'm old and I've had lots of experience. I've been one of these in all times of my life.
That's true. So, and here's the other thing I want to add to this is actually to get deeper in this, and I had a feeling we all show up with at least 3 of these categories, a minimum of 3. Some of us have all of these. And it's just a matter of how much of it shows up for you. So really, and different stages of your life. So someone between the ages of, let's say 36 to 42, that's a very difficult age because that's where most change happens for us. That's when we're wanting to get a divorce. That's when we want to get married if we're not married. That's when we want to have children if we don't have children. That's when we don't want to have children if we have children. That's when we just kind of that age is really when we feel like we're kind of suffocating a little bit. And so goal setting, our businesses, our jobs, our careers, it's when we're feeling the most like we want to make a change. So it's interesting that you said that because it's true. Whenever you're in a different life stage, things evolve for you. So the reason why I wanted to touch on these is because if you're finding you're having a hard time with setting goals for yourself, you are falling into one or two or three of these categories by nature. You naturally are. And so if you identify with these as we're discussing them right now, there are things you can do to move your ball forward if you're feeling a little stuck or you're feeling not like you don't know how to navigate the waters. So I'm not sure if someone wants to say if they relate to one of these and give that as an example, or two of these or three of these. Is anybody very quick in the room? Is anybody very like, can you make decisions very fast? Are you very fast with decision making? Do you almost feel like, that's Stacy, right?
Yeah.
Stacy, do you feel like when you're in a meeting, like you're almost ahead of what is being discussed and you're trying to get things going?
All the time. Yeah.
Okay, so.
I'm
you
like
fall-
a double M.
What's that?
I think I'm in double M.
Okay, yeah. So the interesting thing is for our careers, because this is your business, right? Goal setting in a business workshop.
Mhm.
So it's interesting because folks that score this S on top, this M that's second, and the M down here, this is your top part of this flower looking thing.
Okay.
Those are the ones that are very natural with leadership. They're the ones that get things done. They're the ones that are the owners. Those are the high managers. Those are the administrators that just get things done.
Mhm.
Those people don't really have a hard time goal setting. And even goal setting to them is kind of like, okay, I already got this. Like, I don't need to write all this down. Or you will write it down and then you'll take off with it. The folks on the bottom part have a little bit of a harder time that score there. And it's just because naturally they just operate a different way. So the reason why it's important, and when I'm working with companies, is you might have a team that's, I mean, you do, you'll have a team that has a mixed bag of all of these characteristics. And if your team, if you have a set of goals, and let's say it's you, Stacy, and you're like, okay, why is my person not taking care of these things? And she has a characteristic of this V, that's why. She just naturally doesn't move that way. So she needs some sort of something in front of her to motivate her a certain way to get the ball moving. Or actually the advice for that would be to move her out of the position of trying to get a task done and get another M, this high M up here. So does that make sense?
Totally. And the person I'm picturing as the V, that's what I'm struggling with, is like, is there any movement ever? Is it going to happen? Or is it just better to get another personality type in there?
It's hard. Well, it's hard to say. I mean, if you really feel like nothing is happening, and there's a lot of procrastination, and you've given opportunities and you've tried to coach in your way, and they're just not getting it, it's probably never going to work because people are just stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
Now, if she was the leader
Yeah.
and you were under her,
Uh-huh.
you would get things done all day and she'd be fine. She'd be happy because things are
Yeah.
getting done. Does that make sense?
Definitely.
So yeah, so it's a little tough, but I mean, you could do things. There are some specific things you could do to try to get the ball moving for her, but it'll be tough for you. You'll just become frustrated. I have a feeling too, you're probably this S. Do you feel like you identify with this S?
All of the whole top. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So yeah, that's going to be really frustrating for you to keep her in your fold. Without knowing the specifics, it's hard for me to really say that, but if you feel it, it's probably going to be that way.
Okay.
You need another U.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
kind of thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of need another M.
Yeah, the rest of them are M.
Are you a boss or are you like an owner? Or?
No, I'm kind of a pseudo. I have the roles, but not the titles. So kind of business development leader, social work team lead. But there's just one person. The rest of them are all, no problem. They're all assertive.
Yeah, so that's it. And the thing is too, you guys, is really just accepting. This is the other thing, is not judging, because we are what we are and we're all unique. You know, we're as unique as a thumbprint. So goals to you are very different than goals to like a V or an L. You know, like the L's in the room are musicians. They're the artistic ones. So if talking goals to them is like a foreign language, it's almost like well, they have this vision and they can write out this big grand master thing, but to tackle it is too much. And they're the ones that have all the ideas too. Like they'll come with all kinds of ideas and not sit on one, they'll have a bunch. So it's kind of interesting. But when we're goal setting for this upcoming year, accepting who you're with, who's on your team, accepting yourself, and trying to put a system in place to get the ball moving, to get the goals accomplished, is powerful when you know how you tick. Does that make sense? Does anybody else want to talk about something that's related to this specifically that you're experiencing?
I think Stacy and I should work together.
Let's do it.
Because I'm right across the top too. So that was
Yeah.
good, Stacy. That was super helpful. Thank you.
That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is that the folks on the bottom, they're the ones in our profession, you guys, because we're in healthcare, they're the nurturers. The V's and the J's, they're empaths, and they're sympathetic. Those are our nurses. Those are the ones, the doctors. Those are the ones that really care and have the hugest heart. The ones on the top do too, but they just have a different dynamic about them. And the folks on the bottom are more passive in nature and more like caring and loving. So if you were the owner of an agency, let's say a hospice agency or let's say home care, and you have a client care manager, your ideal client care manager is really a J and a V, a cross between the J and the V. It's really ideal because they're going to go in there and just really love on that family and love on the caregivers. So it's pretty interesting. So if you have goals for them or KPIs for them, their KPIs are client satisfaction, and they'll get high marks all day long. So it's kind of interesting. Any other questions about this or advice that you need about personality types and goal setting in your specific upcoming year? Okay. Now this lovely man. So New Year's, we typically hear everybody, make resolutions, new year, new me kind of stuff. And everybody not everybody, but some people make the same kind of goals every year. And then they end up breaking them. The gyms are packed, it's an old story. The gyms are packed, the first part of the new year, and then they kind of taper off. This has happened to me too. And you just have to learn. You have to learn habits. And it's actually scientifically proven that humans are bad at setting goals for themselves and actually following through with them. It's very hard to concentrate on a goal set in the distant future when there's so many things battling for our attention, especially right now. And if you guys are in tune with social media, I mean, it's insane. So it's really difficult to keep our eye focused on what we need to accomplish, especially with all the distraction right now with COVID, the election, our coworkers, our businesses trying to thrive. So there's a lot going on. It doesn't have to be this way. There are many proven techniques that can help us from start to finish to set consistently and consistently work on to achieve whatever goal we set in front of us. One of the tools that I want to suggest to you, and we can, if you would like these slides, we can get them to you. This is a tool that's been super successful for a lot of top business professionals, and it's the goal pyramid. And I've always done this in my own business life very successfully, just naturally. And when I came across this concept, it just dialed in. And so what it is it's really, when you set a goal, you're really thinking of the end in mind, or you should be. So for this upcoming year, really what you would ask yourself is, where do you want to be in December of 2021 with your business? Usually it's a revenue, some sort of tied to revenue or tied to money somehow. So, and then you work backward from there. So this pyramid model is really something that I would encourage you to print. Set the top goal of where you want to be at the end of next year, and you're starting to unpack and unfold backwards to all the way to today on what it's going to take to achieve that goal. Now, for example, when I started this, I was saying that it should be tied to a personal thing, right? So for me, I want a beach house. I live in Carlsbad. I have a lovely home, but it's not closer to the beach like I want it to be. So this next coming year, I know for me to get a little closer to that beach house, I need to earn X amount of dollars this year coming in 2021 for me to get closer to that goal in 3 years. I have a 3-year goal. So this upcoming year, I have done this because I've done this a million times. At the top, I have my revenue, and then the 2 boxes underneath, I have steps of what it's going to take for me to get to that goal. The 3 boxes underneath that are more steps to get to the 2 steps. And then the 4 boxes underneath are the steps to get to the 3 steps. Now, the way I use it and the way I recommend to my clients that work successfully is you would do 1 for the year. So this would be whatever big goal you have, break it down, unpack that goal, and then do another one for your quarters. And then you're just kind of unpacking the entire year until it comes all the way down to today. And what you need to do to today to keep moving the ball forward. What team members you need, where you need to delegate, whatever it is. And everybody has different goals, so it's really hard to cookie cutter it, but whatever it is. And you can rough draft it a million times until you get one that's so dialed into you. And then all you have to do is follow it like a playbook. You try to stay focused. You try not to get distracted. You might have to alter this pyramid a little bit. And if you do, alter it. Things will happen to kind of shift. You might get an opportunity that lands in your lap, whatever it may be. But you have to kind of visit your larger goal and your large milestones and your small milestones pretty often. I suggest you look at it literally almost daily. Keep it by your desk. Work on it once a month, see where you're at, and go from there. Does that make sense? Who is a very natural person at goal setting in the room? Is there anybody who does goals and hits targets pretty nicely and uses some sort of method? Julie, what do you do?
Very, very similar to what you just described. It's like standing in the future fulfilled, right? So where do I want to be, and then unfolding. And so I do that. So I plan out my year, and then like you said, I plan out my quarters, I plan out my month. And what I don't do necessarily as well, I'm just looking at this, is I plan out the year, the quarter, the month, and I plan out my day. But what I'm seeing is that I don't necessarily do, where I see the opportunity is in planning out the full week. I don't necessarily look at a full week. I just look at the month and the day. So I do see an opportunity to kind of look at the week as well.
So some don't have to do the week. For me, what works for me is I love to do the week all the way down to the day. Yeah. Like I have my task list, and I'm a certain animal where I need to see it. I need to check it off, and whatever I didn't do, can wait until tomorrow. I wait till tomorrow. But the end of the week, it's done. Mm-hmm. And every time I do that, and what I encourage you to adopt in terms of a habit, it's a discipline. I'm telling you, it's like brushing your teeth. We don't think about brushing our teeth, right? We just do it. We know we need to do it because we're going to have good dental hygiene. It's the same concept. Like there is no wavering. There is nothing. As long as you plan it out and you do this every year, I can guarantee you I am going to have my beach house in 3 years. It's just going to happen and have the same quality of life that I want to have. Does that make sense? So it's like we just have to build these habits so that it's second nature, and you will hit these goals. You just will. But it's discipline, and like I said earlier, if we have a hard time doing it, ask for help. We may have a spouse, we may have a significant other, we may have a sister or a brother, or we may have a teammate or whatever, but ask for help to see, because you might have that person who will help you tackle on these goals or help you set them up for yourself or what have you. But this is kind of a tool. It's just to unpack it and work backwards. So you're always working backwards. Now, I know we were talking about this upcoming year, but you can do this for anything. I mean, anything. You have a 25-year goal. Like I want to retire in 10, if I could, So like, what do I have to do 10 years from now, working backwards? You just keep working it until it makes sense to you and until you can actually deliver it. It has to be attainable. So any questions about this pyramid? Okay. Julie, how much time do we have? Oh, you're on mute. Do we have till 5?
We do. Yeah, you have 11 minutes.
Okay, so we all know what SMART goals are. I won't bore you too much with the SMART goals. We know what they are. If they're specific, they're measurable, they're assignable, they're realistic, and they're time-based. These are the core of how you set them up. When you're writing out your pyramid or writing out however you want a goal set, make sure it's very specific. Make sure it's detailed down to the T. My house that I want in 3 years, I know exactly what it looks like. I know what it smells like. I know what it feels like. I know, you know what I mean? So like you just work backwards. This week, I know exactly what my day is tomorrow. It's very specific. Everything you do is very specific to get to your goal. It is measurable. They need to be measurable. So those are your KPIs, your key performing indicators for you and your team to get the ball going. Assignable. Realistic, they have to be realistic. If they're too far-fetched, you'll never get to them. They do have to be kind of outreaching though. And they need to be time-based. So setting deadlines on yourself, setting deadlines on your team are really important. And deadlines to me from a business perspective are always month end, quarter end, and the year end. That's how I operate. And that's what I would encourage you to do as, you know, in your professional life. For example, a basic goal would be, I want to grow my company. If I ask somebody, what's your goal for the coming quarter? And they say, oh, I just want to grow my company. Okay, well, how much do you want to grow your company? What's the revenue you're looking for? How many clients do you need? How many caregivers do you need? So they need to be very specific. A SMART goal would be, I will grow my company to X amount of revenue by December 31st, 2021. I'll do this by generating X amount of revenue from new sales activity and an X amount from upselling to current clients. I'll generate new sales opportunities by attending 1 networking event per week and create 2 valuable contacts per month. That's a very SMART goal. And if this individual did this like every week for a full 3 months, absolutely they will see results. Absolutely. It's consistency, it's discipline, and it's just getting it done. The more specific you can be, the better chance you'll have of achieving your goal. Think about it like a map. The better the map, the more likely you'll be able to find your way to your destination. Write out your specific goals. Like I said earlier, there's a lot out there in terms of suggestions on how to achieve goals and how to work your goals. These 3 are the main ones that's correlated across the board. Writing them out and writing them down is really important. And when you regularly write them out, it becomes real and it becomes tangible almost. And so when you put them out also and you can visually see them, it's really, really important. So writing out your goals, be specific as possible. Again, don't write goals like get more clients. You want to write out exactly what you need to obtain those clients, exactly what steps you're going to take and your team's going to take to get those clients and how many. Think about what you hope to learn during your process of goal setting, research, and accomplish. Make sure to create goals that emphasize specific things that you aim to attain. The next one is measuring your goals. Those are the KPIs. We all know what KPIs are. The best goals are not only specific, but they're also measurable. Goals like increasing income by 30% are very measurable. You simply have to check back whether you are earning the income you want to earn month over month when you set that type of goal. Learning goals, networking goals, and other goals that are not tied to something tangible may be more difficult to measure, which is fine. We understand that. You can figure out the measurability by tying a goal to achieving a specific result within a set period of time. So for example, I'm getting a certification as a financial from CFI for being a valuation specialist. Well, my goal for doing that is to achieve that certification by the end of next quarter. So that's a tangible goal next quarter. And right now I'm doing everything I can every day, 1 hour a day dedicated to that. And if I maintain that 1 hour a day, it'll be done by the time I need it to be done. To make sure you can measure a goal, describe what the completed goal will look like. What will be different once you achieve the goal? What exactly will you have accomplished? And what will you have accomplished by it? Writing this out will not only give you additional insight and clarity, but should excite you about your goal. I can't believe how many times I've actually said the word goal. I know, it's nuts. Okay. The other thing is it's important to read them. I'm not going to read this, but it is important to read your goals. You want to keep them out front. You want to keep them in the forefront. It's kind of interesting because my clients find this valuable too. And I do the same thing, is I will write out randomly. If I'm sitting and doodling, I'll write out, like I was saying, I was doing this certification for CFI, and I'll write out just the acronym CFI. You know, it's kind of keeping it in the forefront. Right now I have little sticky notes right here, a couple of them, just reminding me a little quick thing that if I look at it, I know, oh yeah, it's this. You know, I have a picture of the beach house I want. So it's like stuff like that, like keep them in front of you because it's in your forefront of your mind. You start brainwashing yourself to start achieving what it is you set out to achieve. Also focus on what's in front of you. We can't predict clearly. I mean, I have 3 daughters that live with, are with me. I can't really predict what my day is going to be like. To an extent I can, but for the most part, it's hard. Sometimes I get a client call that needs me at a time we're not scheduled. My daughters come up, they need something. Life throws its, monkey wrenches at us. But the best thing we can do is just stay in front of our day, stay in front of what we plan as much as we can, have a really, really positive attitude, and just tackle what we can and don't overload ourselves so much. So just focus on what's in front of you is the biggest thing, and take it as it comes. And be positive and grateful. Gratitude goes a long way too. Just be grateful that you get to set out goals for yourself and try to attain and achieve them. And then the ritual behind hitting your targets. It's kind of an old story. I have this on here in closing. My dog is wanting to go out. I have this ritual. I know, this is Anakin. See, he wants to go out. Anyway. A lot of people say they're good at starting new things and then they lose focus. And a lot of people start stuff and then don't follow through. So, and that might be you. The thing is that we could miss a day. And if we miss a day, 1 day of missing our targets, Annie, relax, could turn into 4. And then it turns into 2 weeks. Then before you know it, it's March of next year, and we really haven't accomplished what it is we set out to accomplish by that time next year. So it's really a matter of creating rituals for yourself and keeping to it and sticking to it as much as you can. So, and then in closing, just remember, anyone can work hard. I love quotes. I put quotes in here a lot. Anyone can work hard when they're motivated. The difference between successful people and everyone else is that successful people go to work every day, regardless of how they're feeling. So instead of focusing so much on the results, switch your mindset and focus on the ritual. That's it. So thank you. I don't know, I'm sorry. I know it's so repetitive with the goals, but they're really important. And it's a tough year that we're coming up against. And it's not easy. We just have to do the best we can with who we are. That's the other thing. We're all different the way we operate. So.
Your baby out.
My dogs are barking in sympathy.
Oh my God, do you hear my Anakin? He's going, oh, look, who's that? Sydney. Do you hear? It's like dinner time or something for these guys.
That's Maisie in the background. This is Maisie.
Oh,
That was
shoot.
awesome, Jennifer.
I hope so. It's the end of the day. I'm so sorry. My dog's going nuts. Does anybody have any questions?
That's enough.
No questions? Okay.
Great job.
Great to unmute
Thank
my
you so
daughter.
much, Jennifer.
Of course. Oh, look, Jacqueline has hers. He's in San Francisco.
I do have a question. I
Sure,
do.
sure.
So with this new tier, I just saw on the news that they're effective Saturday, we're going into mandatory lockdown. Like no one can be out, like in the evening from 10 to 6 a.m. in the morning.
I just
So-
heard that too.
Yeah, so I'm a marketer, I'm a community liaison, and I go to communities, I go to assisted living, memory care, and senior communities. So with this new regulation, I think we're not going to be able to go in there anymore, right? Is that what I'm thinking?
One of my
Uh-huh.
new employees, she just texted me. I mean, so basically she was asking, I guess we're gonna have to have like a piece of paper if we're out after hours,
Yeah,
or going into facilities that says
It-
that we're
essential workers.
thank you. I couldn't think of the
Mhm.
term. Yeah. So I haven't, and she asked me, do we have one? I said, I have not even thought of that yet. So I guess I'll
Yeah.
be making one tomorrow. I don't know.
The NPRA has a format, so I can send that out. We used that when we were in lockdown previously. So I will get that and send it out to everybody who's at the meeting.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
only between 10 at night and 6 in the morning though, right?
Let me just make sure.
I think it is. A lot of
I
our
think-
staff's out overnight, but not the marketers, thank goodness.
Yeah. No marketers.
I think I wrote it down somewhere.
So the other thing is, if anybody is interested, I know this year has been hell. I mean, it's been challenging for a lot of folks. If anybody is interested, I'm super open to giving an hour of consultation in terms of how to cope with what's going on the rest of this year and the beginning of the next year. I would like to offer a free assessment on you in particular, if you're interested in doing that. And if you need a little bit of support on how to navigate the next quarter, the end of this quarter and next quarter, I'm happy to do that. No charge. It's a very difficult time. And like I said, it's hard for me to give these types of presentations just because I'm so specific to the individual and my advisor, because everybody's different. Everybody's circumstance is different, everybody's personality is different, and what they're going through is different. And so if anybody's interested in a little support, it's all confidential, and I can help push whatever's going on a little further for you, with you, but I'm happy to do that to help. It's just a challenging time. And next quarter, and we can concede to this, it's almost like we're going backwards.
Yeah.
I feel like we're back in April. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
remember when everything was going on nuts? It's kind of, it feels like it's going back there. And so this first upcoming year, it's going to be challenging for a lot of people. So.
And now we're already burned out. It's not like it's starting new.
Yeah, it's tough, you know? So if anybody's interested in that, please just reach out. My information is in this thread. So if you're interested in that or have somebody that you think might be, I'm willing to just help in any way I can. So just let me know. And it's hard too, because a lot of us have families and kids, and like the kids aren't going to school, and like even just navigating our careers, our jobs and doing that is tough. So yeah, but I'm happy to help.
Jennifer, if
Thank
you
you
can give
so
me the
much.
slides, I'll get those out to everybody else. Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'd be happy to.
Great.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Of course. Have a
Thank
good
you,
evening.
Julie.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, everybody.
Thanksgiving.
Good night, ladies.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Thank
Happy
you.
Thanksgiving,
Bye.
you too.
Thanksgiving.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
Jean.
I'll call you Jennifer
Okay.
Good
and
night.
Jackie.
Bye. Oh, wait, before we go, where's Julie?
I'm here.
Oh, Julie, so what are we doing for the board meeting in December?
We are going to have it at 4 o'clock. We're just going to have a board meeting, but not a general session.
Okay, got it. All right. So 4 o'clock is same day though.
Same day, and I'll send out a new calendar invite with 4 o'clock instead of 3.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Okay, have a good evening.
Thank you.
Good night,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks for being here, Carmen. Thank you.
Thank you. Uh-huh.
Bye-bye.
Bye.